Oh, hey. Hey, it's Steve. I'm a hobo with wood, and I'm just playing with my airplane. Now, I opened the video kind of like that once before, and they said, oh, that's clickbait. Thought you were going to talk about the airplane file. Well, this time, we're going to be talking about the airplane file. I've been working on this design, redesigned it, but more important than the airplane file, I'm going to educate you about tabs in Lightburn. And not tabs, but tabs. You'll understand. Hang around. Okay, first a little bit about the airplane. So this airplane file I got offline somewhere. I don't exactly know where, but it was a little challenging to put together. There were no instructions, and I made it for my 13-year-old cousin and gave it to him as a challenge to see if he could put together, and he couldn't do it. He struggled with it, and then I tried to help him, and I struggled with it, just trying to figure it out. And it was just like Lightburn. It was a matter of priorities. Which pieces did you put together first? Finally figured all that out, but this was still a little bit challenging. So, I wasn't really crazy about the overall design once it was finished, so I made a few changes to it, and as usual, made it my own. But let's take a look at this. This, you see, the biplane has got 4 vertical. I'm not even sure if struts are the correct word there. I think they are for the biplane. And there are biplanes that are made this way, but that's not the famous biplane that I think of. And I think I'm saying it wrong probably, but the Sopwith Camel, Snoopy's airplane, Snoopy and the Red Baron. His isn't designed this way, and the tail has a little imaginary wheel on there, and the Sopwith doesn't have a wheel. It's a true tail dragger, and the tail is completely different. A lot of things about it are different. So let's take a look at my design. You've probably seen this in the videos sitting up here on the shelf for quite a while, but now we've got my version, and it is a little different. So I've made it, put it on a base, put it on a stand, so it self-supporting and looks like she's in flight. And I went with just 2 outboard struts. The Sopwith has, instead of this type of strut like it has outboard, it's got 2 on the inboard side, and they actually come up from the hull of the airplane, or the fuselage of the airplane, at an angle, which is a little hard to do when you're doing designs with the laser. So I did my best replication of that and still make it easy to assemble. And then I got rid of the wheel, made it a true tail dragger. And then if you look at the tail, the tails are completely different. Like I said, the Sopwith, it has more of a guitar pick design to it. And this one was just a little easier to assemble. And I'm going to have this available on hobowithwood.com in a plain design, of course, that you can then paint up and put whatever designs you wanted to on it. But that's what this video is about. This video is about tabs in Lightburn. So let's take a look at Lightburn and tabs. Now you're going, well, wait a minute. I know all about slots and tabs, but those aren't the tabs we're talking about here. And I think it's kind of a misstep maybe for, well, I guess if you do these projects, you know there are 2 different types of tabs. I would maybe have named them differently, but they were probably named in different parts of crafting, and they were both called tabs, and then now they've met, and it's like, oh, okay, well, there's 2 tabs. All right, so maybe you've heard people mention about making flat packs or making kits to send out, or how do you do that? Well, this is a flat pack. This is that airplane, all cut out. And if you're old enough, you might remember some of the plastic model cars that you would get as a child and have to snap the pieces out of the injection molded plastic framework. Well, that's kind of what this is like. These pieces are almost cut out, but there are small tabs that are holding these pieces in place to prevent them from falling completely out of the woodwork. And that way you can actually put these together and ship these as is. And I may explore that. I don't really like making product and having to ship it, because shipping and handling are the most aggravating parts of making and shipping things, because it shows up damaged or broken. But using tabs and pieces like this, you can actually do that and feel pretty confident it's going to get there intact. So now let's look at these tabs in Lightburn. Okay, so this is the plain design laid out on two different pieces of wood. As you've just seen, I can do that on two pieces, 12 by 12, and get the entire frame and the airplane and the stand cut out of two pieces. Now, this doesn't look like it's anything different or unusual than anything you've already seen. But if we select this entire image, then this tool right above the text tool is your Add Tabs. Click on it, and you see all these little circles show up, where those are tabs or places that the laser is not going to cut. And you can set this up and place them yourself. Right now this is Add Tab, so if I wanted to come up here to this piece, which this is waste, we want that to drop out and fall out. But if for some reason we didn't want to, you just come where you want it to be and just left click, that adds a tab. Left click again, that adds a tab. But these are waste. We don't want those. So how do you get rid of this tab? Well, you just hover over that tab and click again. Double click that and it goes away. But and you may have purchased files from Etsy or other cut file websites, and it has tabs on it, and you're not planning to ship it, and you don't want tabs. You want to get rid of the tabs. Well, the easiest way to set up tabs and remove tabs, come over to your cuts and layers. This is all on layer 02. Open that up, and right here is your tabs and bridges. If you're in line mode, because I think if you're in fill mode, yes, it goes away. So you got to be in line mode, and then you get your tabs and bridges option. Now, I'm not so sure what bridges are, if that's just another name for tabs, and that would be good since you've got slots and tabs. Now you got slots, tabs, and bridges. But here's your tabs, and if you've got tabs in a file and you want to get rid of it, if you open that file, you select that layer that the tabs are on, you can come over here to tabs and say clear tabs. This will clear all existing tabs on this layer. Are you sure? Yes. And all of your tabs just went bye-bye. So now you don't have to deal with tabs if you're cutting out this piece for yourself, and you're not worried about keeping those pieces intact. We're going to go back here. Tabs are back. Now I'm going to show you how to set up these tabs. And actually, you know what? We'll go ahead and clear them again. Clear them, yes. Go away, bye-bye. Okay. So now you're starting with a file with no tabs. How do you set those tabs up? Well, there's a couple ways you can do this. I just showed you can go in and manually add tabs, or come in here and you have tab generation. You can automatically generate the tabs or manually generate the tabs. And right now manual is selected, but if we go to automatic, then if you look here when you're in manual, these are all grayed out. These are the options for the automatic settings. Here you can set your tab size, and I'm going to go, actually I'm going to change this to metric, go to millimeters, because it's easier for me to know what I'm looking at when I'm talking about this. Alright, so currently I've got my tab set up to 1 millimeter. That is the width the laser is going to skip when cutting. You know, so you want, for me, it depends on the thickness of the material, as far as how wide you want those tabs to be. If you were cutting out of 4.3 millimeter material, then a 1 millimeter tab size probably isn't going to be big enough to hold that piece in place and keep it from breaking loose when you pick it up off your workbed. But here I'm working with 1.5 millimeter material, so a 1 millimeter tab size is over half the thickness. That's going to hold it in place. I went with 2 tabs per shape, and then if you actually want to do a partial cut, you can set the tab cut power. So if you were here, we're cutting at 50%. If you wanted to say, well, you know what, let's do a 50% power on there, so it's halfway cut through. But I don't use that when I'm using this thin of material. I do 0%. And then on your shapes per selection, it doesn't always follow this rule. Sometimes you'll say you want 2 tabs per shape, but you'll find that it's put on 3. Well, or you find like in this here, we did an automatic tab setting, and these 2 tabs right here are awful darn close to each other. I wouldn't want that. Those are close to each other. So, and then it'd also have to, in fact, we'll place these, say, oh, okay, done. Those were automatically generated. If we zoom in and say, you know what, I don't want these tabs that close to each other. Well, if you come to this tab right here, and you see how you get the little tab indication there, that strange looking figure, well, that's a tab. Well, if you get those crosshairs in that figure, just left click, and you can drag that tab all the way around that shape. And when you release your mouse, that's where that tab is now going to have its new home. So something like that would work. Come over here, grab that one, slide that one up. And in fact, I want those to be about opposite each other on that piece, so it's not, or you would do 3 tabs on a big piece like that, put one there, and now we could just manually one-time click and put that in there, or double click it, get rid of it, and bring this one, well, I just inserted one, put that back there, and let's double click that, get rid of that. Then what you're going to look for is also any places that are going to be tough to break out of, or fragile. Like I wouldn't want that inside there. I'd bring it out here on the end. Same thing, bring that out here. So the automatic generation does okay, but you're going to have to look and double check your tab position and make sure that it's not going to be in a place that it's going to cause a problem when you go to snap it out. And on large pieces like this, I'd want them at least opposite each other, and maybe even a third one in there just to keep it from wanting to spin out of place. So I'd put 2 there like that and add a third one here and here. So those aren't going anywhere. They were not going to rotate or spin on themselves. And here I've got remove overlapping lines turned on, but I'm going to move this out here. I'll add one here and here. Move that down like that, and now that'll give me 2 tabs on either side of those wings. And you see how this works. Just move it around, drag it where you want. need to insert one, left click one time. And these are the inner pieces of the wheels. Those are waste. We don't need tabs on there. They can go bye-bye. So that looks good. That looks good. Same thing here. These inner pieces are waste. We don't need those. So they can cut and drop. Might put one there. Like that. And for the most part, that looks pretty good. So that's tabs. You go into your cuts and layers. If you're in line mode, you'll have to turn that on to start setting up your tabs. You can automatically generate them, set your tab size. You can even use your even spacing option here. If, in fact, let's clear all the tabs. You want to clear this layer? Yes. So now let's say we're going to do automatic. You have manually placed tabs, switching automatic. We'll remove them. Are you sure? Yes. And now we say we want to do 4 tabs per piece with even spacing. And now you can set your spacing up to how far apart you want those pieces to be. And depending on if you were using some type of array and they were all equal pieces, then that would work out better. But this is how you can set up the spacing. You can see that there. I can't zoom in at this position. But you can see. Let's cancel this. Zoom in. Double click. And automatic. Yes. We want 3 tabs with even spacing, and so now you can see, in fact, by changing the spacing there, we told it we want 3 tabs, but in order to have even spacing, it had to insert a 4th tab on those wheels. But you can use your even spacing to automatically generate tabs and automatically space those tabs out evenly. Here you have a limit max tabs, and that just overrode that because we say it's turned on a limit of 3, but it actually did 4 there. Turn that off. There we go. Tabs per shape. Take off the actually one or the other there. So tabs per shape 3, or do you want them evenly spaced? And if you don't have a max turned on, turn on a max there, and let's say we want a max of 4 tabs. And move that out of the way. So now you got 4 tabs per shape, 3 tabs per shape, 2 tabs per shape. The more tabs you put on there, the more secure it's going to be, and maybe a little bit more difficult to cut out, or more X-Acto knives, depending on how, because you get more in there, it's not going to want to bend and twist out. You'll have to cut them out. All right, so those are slots and tabs. The biggest thing is cuts and layers is where you go to turn them on and off in line mode, and this magic button right here for clear tabs. This will clear all existing tabs. Are you sure? Yes. And that's how you get rid of them on designs that you have purchased that have tabs and you don't want them. Or that's how you add tabs to a design you want to cut and carry with you or ship. Turn on tabs, automatic generation. We want to do tabs per shape. I'm going to say 2 and okay. Then I can go in and change and move those around where I need them to be. But that's how you use tabs in Lightburn, or at least how I use tabs in Lightburn. Now, this file will be available on hobowithwood.com to download. It will be a plain file with no artwork on the plane, and it will have tabs already assigned to the pieces, and I believe it's set up for cutting it out of 1.5 millimeter. And I think I was using basswood. 1.5 millimeter basswood is how that was set up. You can use your change slots and tabs in selection to change your slot size. And using 1.5 millimeter basswood, you see that this single support does support this okay, even with all the extra weight of the paint that's on here. But if you wanted to make it a dual support, it's easy enough just to duplicate that, add another slot, and position that in the center of the fuselage, and you'll have two supports. Not a very difficult thing to do. But I like the look of one. It's cleaner, simpler, and gives the illusion, more of an illusion of it being up in the air. So thank you for watching. I appreciate your support. Don't go nowhere. Stay. It's wanting to take off on me. All right. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching. If you are a patron, thank you very much for your support. If you'd like to consider being a patron, patreon.com/hobowithwood. I would appreciate anybody that signs up, becomes a patron. That support is extremely valuable and greatly appreciated. But I'm going to get off here and quit rambling. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.